Welcome to LAPUx Lessons. This podcast is a growing collection of conversations with the thought leaders in the online professional development space. Here at LAPU, our award-winning team strives to create world-class online learning experiences that put humanity back into learning. Join us on our journey to innovate in the online classroom and show the world what learning feels like.
Welcome to this episode of LAPUx Lessons. My name is Calista Dawson. I'm the Senior Instructional Media Designer for our e-learning team. And I'm here today with Megan Burns, the Professional Development Program Facilitator, and Kenna Miller, Instructional Designer. Today, we just wanted to introduce you to LAPUx and talk about what it is and what our goals are for creating this platform. And with that in mind, I'd love to hand it over to Megan. And Megan, if you could just talk to us a little bit today about what LAPUx is, why we created it, who is it for, and what is your role?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that's a ton of information, so I'll try to put each of it into a little bit of a nutshell. But my role is anything and everything LAPUx, and LAPUx stands for Los Angeles Pacific University Extension. And what we're doing is we are creating online badges and certifications for the busy professional who wants to be able to take a step forward in their professional development or their leadership development. And this could be as much of a commitment as 16 hours for leading virtual teams, or it could be as short and quick as a badge for 4 to 6 hours in something like how to write a professional email. So this is really a skill set building extension program, whether that's for your leadership or for something more tactical. But ultimately, the goal is that we can really meet that middle niche that we have seen a need for. There's all these executive development programs that we find online that can cost anywhere from $18,000 to $30,000 to shorter term certificates that you could find on LinkedIn. But the common thread through all of that is really that it's just a data dump. And so with LAPU Extension, what we are doing is we are taking the philosophy of LAPU teaching and applying it to these extension programs in ways that learners can actually feel the learning, so it becomes ingrained as a part of who they are as a leader, as opposed to just simply reviewing knowledge. I am actually in an online course right now, not through LAPU. I won't reveal the university, but it's interesting having that perspective because I am teaching myself out of a book as well as a few videos online. And when I'm creating these extension programs through LAPU Extension, I keep that in mind and I try to find ways to make the learning extremely applicable. And that type of philosophy is true no matter what badge or certification you might find through LAPU Extension. So that is the goal. That's the overarching idea behind it. And it really was born out of this desire to serve the busy professional and also to serve organizations who might want to provide training and development or learning and development for their employees, but don't necessarily have the access or resources to do so. This is where LAPUx can step in and be able to provide those types of resources. And those employees can still have the opportunity to grow and learn in both their leadership as well as their tactical skills.
Awesome. That's such a great explanation. Since you are actually helping with the development of the courses, what would you say, from your perspective, is the most valuable part of what we're building?
I think the most valuable part of what we are building is how deeply applicable this learning is. As a learner, students are going through each course, and not only are they evaluating its effectiveness at the very end and evaluating whether or not it made an impact, they're actually having assignments that are specific to their place of work, specific to what their goals are in the moment. So we provide a no, feel, do framework. So as we are teaching, as students are going through these extension programs, they get to know the information, feel the information, and then do it. I've been teaching at a university level for about 6 years now. And I think that is also the most exciting part as a teacher, is when I get to see students actually do the learning that we've been working through over the past semester. And here at the extension programs, learners are going through that in anywhere from 4 hours to 16 hours, and they get to apply all of that immediately. So that no, feel, do framework is really unique and specific to LAPU and LAPUx. And I think it's even more impactful with that do piece of that framework.
Yeah, I'm grateful you brought that up. We actually are going to have a future episode where we dive really deep into the concept of our process regarding the no field due. So that's something to look forward to. We'll give them a little teaser for that. I would like to jump over to Kenna now. Kenna has been focused on creating some free resources to make available to our audience on LAPUx. So Kenna, if you could talk a little bit about what you've been up to and what your expertise is in this arena and the value that you see being created through these free courses.
Sure, Callista, thank you so much. So our goal kind of with these free courses that we're making and offering came about because we saw a lack of resources that we provided for current LAPU students. So our mindset when we decided to go down this route of creating free courses were looking at what students and professionals need to really get the jobs that they would like. Because unless you have the resources to reach these jobs, it's very difficult to not only find them, but to undergo the process of actually getting the position. So we initially looked at where we were lacking and what could be the most important skill sets that we could make relatively or support relatively quickly for students. In this case, we decided to jump on writing professional emails because that was something we felt anybody could really benefit from, regardless of where you are at in your career, and also interviewing skills. So in this course specifically, we followed the process of achieving an interview and then what you should do before the interview, during the interview, and then after the interview to conduct yourself professionally and to hopefully help you secure the job after the interview. We currently are working on building a lot more courses at this time, and I'm excited to say that the resume creation course is almost complete as well. So that will be another resource for anybody who is interested in that. But really our goal with this is to provide free resources to help people and students generate their career skills. In this day and age, it's super important to have these skills down pat when you're looking for a job. And especially with the pandemic, we've seen so many people who lost their jobs, unfortunately, try to re-enter the job market. And these skills can be very beneficial for them and just help in general at any point of your career. So that was our goal with these courses, and we're definitely looking into more courses to offer through this free side of LAPUx. And our goal as well was to make them very fun and engaging. So we have some really great activities in some of these courses.
Our offerings here, the free offerings and the other courses we're working on, they all speak to that overall mission that we have. These free courses are coming out of that caring effort, and we are doing them with excellence by bringing our expertise to even the free resources that we're offering. Megan, would you like to talk a little bit about the courses that are already available and maybe tease a little bit about what's coming in the near future?
Yeah, absolutely. So Kenna mentioned a few of the free badges that are available. And to give an overarching perspective of what's being offered at LAPUx, we have courses that are free, like Kenna mentioned, which are the writing a professional email, how to interview like a rock star. Those are kind of more skill development type of badges. And then we do also have a certificate on leading remote teams. So if you find yourself in a position where you are now leading a remote team, you've had to pivot with the COVID-19 pandemic, and now your organization is staying remote, we have a way to help you dive right in and be an effective leader in that virtual environment. And that will focus on being a high-performing virtual team to cultivating trust and belonging on your team, even in that virtual environment. We also offer courses in diversity, equity, and inclusion, so leading the diverse organization. We also have several other courses that focus in human resources and learning and development. So we're really trying to provide resources for every leader out there. Now, with that, there is a different cost depending on what it is, whether it's a badge or a certificate. So feel free to check our website, x.lapu.edu, and that will give you a full overview of all of the courses. Some of the coursework that we have coming down the pike include a certification in digital marketing as well as managing with EQ. So if you are looking for more of a tactical training, then digital marketing is probably the direction you want to go. If you're trying to figure out how in the world do I lead so many different people on my team in ways that value them and in ways that also don't drive you crazy, then managing with EQ is probably going to be a good certificate for you. So those are coming down the pike, as well as many, many more. I have to say that the team here at LAPU is incredible and nimble and adaptable and works so quickly to be able to provide this to learners out of a passion for providing this learning to students. So stay tuned.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of piggyback off of what both of you have mentioned, and what really ignited the fire for this effort was the pandemic. And we saw so much learning being thrown up online. And like Megan, you said, you used the word data dump. That's really a lot of what happened. People said, we got to put it online so it can be accessed, but we have no idea how to do that in a way that's meaningful. So here's what you got, right? And we've been doing online learning for over 10 years now, and we've gotten really, really good at it. And so this is our way of both making what we're doing available in new ways, and also samples of it are now free so that hopefully others can see what we're doing and take from what we've already learned and hopefully make the world of online learning a better place for everyone. And I really do sense that that's a passion of ours as a team, as an organization. We want to see online learning be fully embraced because it really is the future. And I think the pandemic only proved that further. As a method for delivery, this is a very legitimate way to learn, especially for adults, especially for non-traditional students. Do either of you have any closing thoughts you would like to add?
I think one last thing I want to mention is just how deeply accessible this learning is. We mentioned that it is online, but you could do this learning, you could take these courses from your tablet, from your phone, from your computer. None of that changes your user experience on your end. So as a learner, you could be commuting on the train to work. So if you're commuting all the way to LA and you're going to be taking the metro in, then you could have your phone out and be learning on your way to work. So I just want to plug how deeply accessible this learning is. It is not something where you need to be sitting in front of a computer and dedicate exclusive time to that. It could be something that you do first thing in the morning in between getting the kids ready and getting them to school, in between going to work. So there's a lot of different ways that you can access this type of learning and be able to gain that development in ways that fit your schedule as a learner.
Thank you for mentioning that. That is extremely important. And it's something that we've been pouring into in making what we're creating mobile and accessible and just extremely easy to digest. Kenna, did you have something to add?
Yeah, that's definitely a great point. And that is something that I love about all of our LAPUx courses, because there's nothing holding you back, hopefully, from taking these courses and learning something and broadening your skills. Another thing, though, that I wanted to mention is that pretty much every course that we have on LAPUx really is almost entertaining. You know, it's very engaging, and they're designed in a way to help you practice these skills as you're learning them. So it's not something where you're just going to read it and absorb it and figure out later what to do. Most of them have a real life application directly in the course. So that's something that really sets us apart and something that helps you practice these skills before you have to actually implement them in your workplace or in your life.
Yes. Thank you for mentioning that as well. That is something that we felt was really important to include. And so with that, I would like to thank both you, Megan and Kenna, for joining me today. We look forward to hearing from both of you more in the future. We have a lot more episodes coming, and we'll be introducing you to more of our team in those future episodes. So stay tuned for that. And that's it for this episode. So thank you so much, and we'll talk again with you soon.
Thank you for listening to this episode of LAPUx Lessons. We hope you had fun learning something new today. If you did, please take a few seconds to review our podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening. We also value your feedback so highly because we're doing this for you. Come connect with us on social media so we can get to know you better. All of our channels are listed in the show description. Before you go, we want to invite you to visit x.lapu.edu to see the courses that our awesome team has created. Check back often as we are always developing new offerings, or you can subscribe to this podcast where we will announce and feature new courses as they become available. That's it for this episode. Thank you so much for tuning in, and remember, this is what learning feels like.